and welcome back everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the WTL 2023 Winter Kung Fu Cup round number 2. I'm of course your host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by my lovely plushies as always and the lovely people in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys are ready for an amazing night of StarCraft! Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, because we have a lot to go over. It's a massive bracket as it always is, and it's hard to know where to begin. It's hard to know where to begin. From the very top here, let's quickly have a look at all the players, the big names. We got Hearthstone versus Rewhite into Spirit. We have Björn versus Solar in the first round, which is an insane TvZ. Australia versus Hyperion, Nice versus Creator, Demaga versus Cyan, DNS waiting in the second round, Oliveira v Nightmare, Kelazhur v DRG, which is where we're going. Diego, Papi Diego. Kelazhur versus DRG. We have Gumiho. We have Roddy. Roddy's playing. Let's go. He's pulling a bit of an ESL Open Cup. I know there are some casters that do play and then they cast right afterwards, after their run ends. So best of luck to old mate Roddy. We have SOS, Dark, Hero, Geralt, Max Pax, Future, Honmono, Clem, Trigger, Cure, Ryung, and Classic. And a couple of other players mixed in between as well. So it's it's a lot. It is a lot to go over. It's a lot to try to overcome as well. So it can at times be a little bit daunting to try to kind of find where we want to go and find how we want to approach this. But if you saw the previous scene, it is going to be a ZVT between Kelazhur and DRG. I was very tempted to dive on Björn versus Solar, but I think that's being casted by some other casters, and we are the only ones getting into Kelazhur versus DRG. So I'm more than happy to spread out the casters and dive on this series if it means that it gets covered, because otherwise it would not be. So we got you guys covered. We got you covered with, oh my god, quite an interesting matchup here, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this. Again, for those wondering, Kelazhur did leave Team Liquid. He left Team Liquid a couple of days ago over the weekend. I believe it was Sunday. Sunday was his last day on the team, and he did since leave, and now is a free agent looking for a new sponsor, looking for a new team. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead. We have the Brazilian Terran player representing himself. It's the Orange Terran. It is Kelazhur. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing himself as well, as he is currently teamless. It is Dong Rei Gu. DRG. Oh boy, so a ZVT to kick things off, and I'm really excited because Kelazhur has been putting in a lot of work. He's been preparing for DreamHack Winter, which is right around the corner. Here we are with WTL KungFu Cup Winter, and again, DreamHack Winter is in a couple of weeks at the end of the month, at the end of October, and we are here in the beginnings of October. So yeah, Kelazhur is looking to make a deep run in his regionals in DreamHack NA, or DreamHack Americas, as it is currently called, or ESL Pro Tour Americas. But how does he compare to some of these other Korean players? Because DRG is no slouch. DRG is one of the best Zerg players in South Korea at the moment. Obviously, when we look at the Korean Zerg players, we look at Dark, we look at Solar, we look at Ragnarok. But right under Ragnarok, I think I would place DRG there. I think I would place him above Su, above Armani, above the other Korean Zerg players. So yeah, DRG, he is a formidable opponent, is a very respectable opponent to be going up against. So we'll see if Kelazhur can make a dent. We'll see if he can make him work for it and even surpass him. This is also the very first KungFu Cup that is on the new patch. It's on the new patch, on the new map pool. So enjoy all the changes that we have had, and I'm excited for it. You know, Kelazhur, he is one to play mech. If he were to open up Cyclones, I wouldn't be too surprised. So I'm keeping my eye on the setup here. Oh my god, it's a 1-base all-in. I I just realized there's no CC. Oh my god, Kelazhur, what do you have in store for us as the SUV's coming in? We have the Reaper as well, looking to just apply some pressure to this natural base. I believe we will see an add-on swap momentarily as the Reaper is going to be poking on forward. The Lynx are going to zone him away. DRG looking to take a third base, but there it is. There is that CC, a very late expansion from Kelazhur. I wonder if DRG noticed. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did notice that late CC, and we do have the add-on swap for some Cyclones. I imagine it's Cyclones. I imagine, as we have quite a bit of gas to work with. And no, sorry, Hellion opener. Okay, Kelazhur, you have my attention. You have my attention. This is really strange. So typically we would see a Rax expand, but this is a CC after factory. So again, a very aggressive opener by Kelazhur. Oh my god, we're going for a proxy starport in the center of that. We're going for a Hellion drop. Okay. I was not anticipating this. This is something that you do not see in this matchup. You don't see this in TvZ. No, my apologies. Not a Hellion drop. We have Hellions to harass the front lines, and we have a Liberator going into the main base. Very committed here from Kelazhur. This has to do damage. If it doesn't, he's behind, because this CC is very late. It's going to poke and prod, does confirm the third base timing overall. Meanwhile, DRG is happily saturating his two bases here on, in his main and at his natural. Do have that Liberator on the way. There are some Queens in position. I believe we have 3 Queens in total, but the Hellions, they do pipe past the Queens. They do go right into the natural. But the Lings, they come out just in time to buy that time. It looks like a couple of Lings are getting roasted, a couple of drones as well, but not too many. Only 3 go down. Oh, Kelazhur, he wanted more, but alas, he will not get it. He is going to get cleaned up. Every single Hellion goes down at the same time. The Liberator is coming out, but unfortunately, too little too late. Ideally, we hit at the same time. Ideally, you have the Hellions, and then as the Hellions distract, then the Liberator goes in. But Liberator now dips into the main base. No reaction. Drones are going down. A lot of workers are going down. A late reaction out of DRG. 4 more workers. Not too bad. But again, we did lose a lot of Hellions, and as a result, Kelazhur, he did bleed out a lot of units. He does have another 4 Hellions. He is doubling down on this. Behind this, we're throwing down additional Raxes at least, so this is not going to be mech. We still have these Hellions for map control, but we have to be careful not to throw them away. If we do, then again, DRG is going to be free to do whatever he wants. To drone to his heart's content, spread his creep as well. As Kelazhur made a second Liberator. Okay, here we go. We have 1 Lib in the main, 1 in the natural with the Hellions at the third base. We are trying to pull a DRG apart, and so far we have not. Oh, but the Lib in the main. Oh my god. 7 kills already. As we reposition in the natural, DRG sustaining quite a number of losses here, but still maintains a 10 worker lead. Hellions are coming back in behind this. We're getting into our 3 rack setup, actually a 5 rack setup without a third CC. The aggression from Kelazhur is pretty insane here. So essentially, once again, just like how we had a delayed natural base, we also have a delayed third. This looks like a 2 base all in, but I don't know if I'm comfortable saying that anymore when we're casting Kelazhur, just because of how aggressive he is, and he's just willing to throw down these late expansions. Again, this looks like a 2 base all in. This is most likely a 2 base all in, but we'll see when Kelazhur, if at all, decides to throw down a third. As the Hellions are still vying for map control, at least we didn't throw them away. The Liberators did go down. There's only 1 remaining, barely on any HP. We have a medevac on the way, which again can allow for some drop play. We haven't made a second starport, so we're just committed to just producing out here. Because why the hell not? First drop has arrived. Stim is done. Overlord goes down. We can deny some of this creep as well. Not a bad position here from Diego, but DRG is able to keep up, and again, he was able to minimize his losses. Looking at the units lost type here, he lost 12 workers, yes, but remember, the expansion was delayed, so Kelazhur had to do damage. I would say he had to do more damage than what was done. Oh boy. And here we go. The Hellions, they just push on forward, denying more of this creep. There are banelings, but they are slow. Meanwhile, as DRG defends, he's going for a big link counter-attack, which means the Lings aren't at home to defend. The Banelings are being targeted down one after the other. The Queens are in a lot of trouble here. DRG risking a lot here, going for this counterattack. The boys are being pulled. The tank will survive. Kelazhur, he holds. And this 2-base all-in is coming in. I did mention before that there is no third base behind this, and there's almost nothing back at home to defend. There's almost nothing here for the Zerg. We have 7 Banelings on the way. Baneling speed just finished up. But Kelazhur, he's pushing in towards that third base as well. He will get on top of the Queen. Meanwhile, the Lings, they're trying to get on top of the tank. They collapse in. Lings, they go for a big surround. Banelings roll on forward. Hot pick up there on some of those Marines. The Banelings will go down. And in the end, does Kelazhur have enough to keep pushing? Up the Banelings. Oh my god. DRG, he barely holds on. This was almost game. This was almost the end of the game here. It looked like Kelazhur maybe had done enough damage. He's waiting for a second wave, waiting for the second push. Meanwhile, DRG has 6 Banelings in production, a couple more on the way as well. The Queens are being brought forward, but there's no creep here. There is no creep. These Banelings are going to be denied. Kelazhur, he has to control his heart out. He has to target fire as best he can. And he can break DRG here and now. Again, he is all in. There is no third base. Doesn't exist. Up. Oh no. The Banelings, they roll forward. Good tank shots do go off on said Banelings. Good target firing as well. And the tank will go down, but we take down the rest of the Ling Bane. GG gets caught. Kelazhur has too much. And Kelazhur takes game number 1. Oh, GG. Oh my god. A very aggressive push from Kelazhur, and DRG didn't know it was a 2-base all-in. He didn't know it was a 2-base all-in, which is why he went for the Ling counterattack. Remember, as the attack began, DRG sent all of his Lings across the map to harass the natural, and they ran into reinforcements, they ran into an army. The Lings got no damage done, and that meant that he didn't have them at home to defend against the push, and things snowballed and escalated very quickly out of control. A very powerful all-in out of Kelazhur, and again, DRG misread the situation and was caught with his pants down. GG. GG, and just like that, Kelazhur is up 1-0. Ooh, oh boy. Let's go. Kicking off with some quality TvZ. Exactly. Again, Beyond versus Solar is very tempting and is a very high quality TvZ matchup, but yeah, we got plenty of other casters covering that. We are here with some Diego on DRG action, and already a surprise result. DRG is the stronger player on paper, but for Kelazhur to come out with game 1, that's already surprising. That's already a big win. Can he keep up the momentum? Can he keep going? As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Terran player representing himself, but damn, is he looking in form right now. It's the Orange Terran. It is Kelazhur. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, down in this series, but looking to fight back, looking to force the ace match. It is DRG. And this SCV is in a really interesting position. Hello, Monsieur SCV. As we are going to be moving out, only a singular SCV for the time being. We do have a depot back at home, but we are going for a proxy Rax. Now, it's only one SCV, only one worker, so this is not a proxy 2 Rax, this is not a 3 Rax, this is not all in. But I wonder what the plan is, because we are taking 2 gases. Is this going to be something like proxy Marauder, or something that we have seen Kelazhur do before, proxy 111, proxy Rax into proxy factory into proxy starport, which would be crazy. To basically have everything out on the map, but I'm not ruling it out. DRG, he's sending his first overlord across the map. His second one is scouting the edge of the third. Is he going to come across the proxy location? Is he barely going to spot this? My eyes are on this overlord, and I believe it will come across it. There it is! It is a proxy 111. There's a factory on the way. We are going for a 1-base all-in, and now another SCV is being pulled. Meanwhile, the overlord turns around. He doesn't commit. I thought he would at least go to the pillar, but no, he turns back around. He's going to be heading here to the natural base. So The reason why the Overlord is coming back here, because if it was a proxy Rax variation, like a 2 Rax or a 3 Rax, the Overlord needs to be here to spot the bunkers. But there are no bunkers. There is no proxy Rax. It's a proxy double factory. Oh my god. So not quite a proxy 1-1-1, it's a proxy 1-2, technically. With 1 Rax and 2 factories, we have an add-on swap. This has to be for the Cyclones, right? I mean, I guess we could just go into Hellions, but I'm curious because you can reactor out. There we go. You can reactor out these Cyclones 2 at a time. For those wondering, for those who may not be familiar with the new patch, you do not need a tech lab anymore. Tech labs are not required for Cyclones. And DRG is going into a 3rd hatchery. He sees the lack of CC on the low ground, but same thing last game. Remember, last game, Kelazhur just went for a late base, and here we go. The Ling will scout. The Ling will finally come across this, but is this too little too late? Because this entire time, DRG has been droning, and there we go. He does come across these Cyclones. Ling goes down. First Cyclone has been revealed. The Queens are being, or they should be brought down to the low ground, and DRG, can he muster up a defense? Is this too late? Because the Cyclones are here. Cyclones have arrived. I mean, Ling speed is a couple of seconds away. Ling speed is soon going to kick in, and once it does, we can shut down these Cyclones. But for now, the Lings get cleaned up. The Cyclones, they need to get these Queens, and one of these Cyclones already takes a lot of hits. Oh my god. Already does take a lot of hits. 1 Queen does go down. Overlord is under threat as well. Another Queen is getting very low, and it will fall. But Ling speed kicks in, and with Ling speed, it looks like Kelazhur's being forced back. He does end up losing 2 of his Cyclones. But he's not done. He's making 4 Cyclones at a time. But the Lings, we have to respect them. We have to back off. Upon seeing all these Lings, Kelazhur, he will back off for the time being. He cannot push onto creep, not with only 3 Cyclones. Now, boys are being pulled. Will they get here in time? Like, this is a really dicey situation here. As the Ling count gets higher, like, these Cyclones, they're glass cannons. They are very vulnerable. They're very squishy. And DRG is making nothing but Lings. SCVs are on the way, and the SCVs are very necessary to buffer for these Cyclones, to protect them. And here we go. The Lings are actually getting ready to come in from behind. Cyclones, they have arrived. They're getting on top of the Queens. 1, 2 Queens go down, but we get the full surround. The repair. The FCVs are trying to repair, but we get a full surround, and we're going to clean this up, and that is going to be the end of this all-in. GG gets called. DRG takes game 2. We're going to the ace match. Let's go. See in chat, go Kelazhur, go Brazil. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Oh my god. As we're getting into our next game. That was close, but remember, I do think from the very beginning, Kelazhur, he lost 2 Cyclones really early on, and I think this is an all-in that has to build up over time and snowball out of control. For Kelazhur to lose his first 2 Cyclones, that was devastating. That was a really rough moment for him to lose so much firepower at that stage of the game. And as we can see, DRG was able to react, and the correct reaction is mass Ling. You just mass Ling here. You're able to get a surround. You're able to collapse on those Cyclones, and they have a really hard time taking care of themselves. I have to wonder if there are these all-in variations with Hellions to support instead. So you make like maybe 4 Cyclones and then you go into Hellion production. I do think that Hellions do have a place there, especially if you're responding against mass Ling. Regardless, the all-in is held, and we have an ace match. GG, and game 3 is going to be on Golden Aura. Fala galera, boa garota. I don't know any more Portuguese. I know obrigado, papi. That's all I know. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. I'm a big fan of Cosmos, though. I don't know if you're familiar with Cosmos. He's a Brazilian caster. He's now a papi. He's a dad. Recently with child. Love him, love him. Shout out to Cosmos. Portuguese caster, or Brazilian caster. As we're getting into our next game. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the orange Terran player. Again, popping off in this series. What does he have in store for us here in game number 3? It is Kelazhur. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player fighting back in the last game, forcing the ace match. It is DRG. Ooh. Oh boy. Here we go. Okay, now we can talk a little bit about this map because it looks like we're going to be calming down in game 3. The SCV here is staying back at home. The Rax is back at home as well. But we are loading into Golden Aura, and Golden Aura is a unique map. I mean, a lot of the maps that have been introduced have certain features, have certain aspects, have strengths and weaknesses. And one of the strengths of this map is that you can be very greedy. Now, I'm curious what kind of opener we're going to be going for. We have casted Dark on this map. Okay, Hatch Gas Pool. We have seen Darko Gasless. We have seen Darko Gasless on this map. Very similar to Neo Humanity, but the openings, the entryways into a lot of these areas here on your 2 and 3 bases and even 4 bases are very narrow, and you can defend with Pure Queen. I respect DRG for going Hatch Gas Pool though, just because Kelazhur has been very aggressive. He's been very offbeat, so we don't want to cut corners. We don't want to cut corners against Kelazhur. We need to respect him. We need to calm down and open up standard and safe. So DRG isn't taking any risks. As Kelazhur, for the first time this series, going for a Rax expand. For the very first time, a standard opener out of Kelazhur. And again, Kelazhur, he can play standard. I know he's been very cheesy this series. I know in game 1 we had a 2-base all-in with a proxy starport. In game 2 we just had a proxy double factory. But he can play standard. He can play straight up. He can go to the macro game with DRG. And I hope we can see that here. For now though, first Reaper is zooming across the map. Going to be heading towards the natural base here of our Zerg player. DRG likewise just droning up. He's got his first couple of lings. Queens are on the way. Everything's looking normal so far from both players. As the Reaper is going to be forced back. And we're just trading it back and forth here. Going to be poking, prodding, making sure that DRG isn't, under-committing. He actually made 6 lings. Oh, interesting. An overcommitment here from DRG. Being very afraid, and Kelazhur going for a very economic opener. It's going to be a 3rd CC before starport. So again, very fast 3rd base here from Kelazhur. Very economic, and I'm loving the stark contrast. And again, I mentioned before, this map is very defensible on 3 bases and even 4 bases. So for Kelazhur to go for an economic opener makes plenty of sense. Now, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Even though this map can be very defensible, at the same time, short rush distance. Very short rush distance by ground. So something like a Roach Queen all-in or a Bane Bust as well, any kind of big all-in from either player can hit that much harder on a map like Golden Aura. And DRG can sometimes be known for his... Oh, as he gets a tumor. DRG can sometimes be known for his Roach play. So that is something to, bear in mind. Have in the back of your mind even. As we get into this. Behind this, it's going to be a... Ooh, looks like it's going to be a 3cc Banshee opener. Once the 3rd CC is done, we do have the add-on swap, and this should be for Banshees as the first Banshees on the way. Again, very safe, very standard, very economic opener here from Kelazhur. This is as standard gets. Very meta, I should say. Very meta play. Nothing too fancy. We are going to be committing into Cloak, and again, the reason why this is so common is because your Hellions give you map control and your Banshee gives you the ability to harass across the map and do some economic damage. On top of that, if DRG did throw down an early Roach one and did go for an early Roach rush, then Banshees will be available as well to defend and to clean up those Roaches and Ravagers as they don't shoot up. So again, just really safe play here out of Kelazhur, and again, very economic as well. As DRG is going to be going for his lair, he's taking his gases, droning on up. I spoke about roaches, and there we go. Roach 1 is thrown down. 3 gases have been taken here to facilitate for that, to afford all those roaches. And yeah, I do think that roach play has a place here on Golden Aura. I mentioned before that it is a really short rush distance by ground, and I spoke about these Queen Roach all-ins. That's definitely possible. We could also see like a 1-1 Roach timing as well. I do think they can hit quite hard on a map like Golden Aura. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, we do see DRG going in for a scout, and he does not see the tech. It is not bio, it's mech. 2 more factories are thrown down. Kelazhur is indeed playing mech, and I even mentioned that in game 1. Kelazhur has been known for his mech play, for his mech style, and I wonder what kind of variation this will be, because of course there has been the change to the Cyclone. 2 Cyclones have been made in the main, 2 more factories are on the way, and we're seeing a new form of battle mech. Ferrari mech, if you will. Hellion Cyclone, with the new Cyclone though. Meanwhile, the Banshees have arrived. They take down a Queen. Very nicely done here by Kelazhur. At the same time, the Queens are being dragged out of position. The Hellions dive in towards that third base, but there are Lings in position. Ooh, and Kelazhur will respect the Lings. He will back off. Meanwhile, DRG, he's cutting workers. He's on 3 bases. He's on full saturation on 3 bases, and he's going all in. There are drop lords on the way. We're sending our Queens, our Roaches, our Lings. Everything is coming across the map, and Kelazhur doesn't know. He hasn't scouted. He has scouted the lack of 4th base, and that should be a tell. But Kelazhur, ooh, he throws down 2 more armories. Again, he is not aware that he's being all-in. The Lings are being cleaned up, yes, but against a Roach all-in like this, we need tanks, not Cyclones. Roaches have been spotted. They are being focused on. I mentioned before, this is why Banshee openers are so good here. Because they can dominate the air, they can dominate the ground, but the Queens have been dropped. The Queens are dropped and the Banshees are being zoned away. 1 Banshee already goes down. And now Kelazhur knows about the all-in. He sees it coming ahead of time. He's going to try and slow it down. Oh no, the tank's exposed. The tank is exposed and the tank will fall immediately. The boys are being pulled, but do we have enough Terran? Hellbats are morphed in. We do have a 2nd tank here at the natural. A better position for that tank. There are no Ravagers. That 1 tank is putting in a lot of work, but the Roaches are getting on top of it. Up, can we repair? Can we repair in time? No, we're repairing the Banshees. The tank goes down. The tank falls. The 3rd base has been broken. We only have a couple of units remaining. Kelazhur, he's up against the wall, and the Roach army here is just getting larger and larger. There's just too much Zerg and not enough Terran. Again, really rough positioning for that 1st tank, if you remember. This 2nd tank wasn't repaired. 20 SCVs go down, and it looks like DRG has done it. He has broken through. Cyclones are kiting as best they can. We have a decent position here on top of the ramp, but alas, the Roach army is just snowballing out of control. Yeah, we're busting into the main base. We're camping the production. And this is going to be the game-winning push. GG gets called. DRG takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to DRG. My condolences, but also a shout out to Kelazhur, because he played well. He played well this series. He made it all the way to the ace match, and he made DRG sweat. Made him sweat quite a bit here in this series. So well played, well played. And I look forward to seeing more of Kelazhur, even here on Golden Aura. Like, it is a shame that it was a bit of a later scout of the all-in, and Kelazhur wasn't ready for it, unfortunately. And we were speaking about the map earlier, but this map especially, Golden Aura, you have very little time to react, very little time to respond, which is why we saw Kelazhur. It was his turn to be caught with his pants down. As Kelazhur all-in in game 1, and then here he died to an all-in in game number 3. So GG, well played. As we are going to be getting ready here for our next series, we are actually going to be hopping over to the Korean server. Alright, so exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. It looks like DRG has advanced on to face off against Data in the next round.